The Estonian Prime Minister tells Euronews that Russia should be offered nothing it's taken from Ukraine if and when it comes to peace negotiations. EU leaders reaffirmed their commitment to Western Balkan countries while meeting in Albania on Tuesday. Russia should be offered nothing it's taken from Ukraine if and when it comes to peace negotiations. Strong words from Estonia's Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, who was responding to Emmanuel Macron's suggestion that the West should consider how to address Russia's demand for security guarantees. Ukrainian officials have since rejected the French president's idea, of Kallas telling Euronews that imperialistic dreams cannot be made to pay.
The message that we have to say out loud and clear is that aggression cannot pay off. If you attack a sovereign country, then you are not leaving with more territories or more resources, but you are punished for this because we have agreed in the international rules-based order that it's illegal to attack another country. So I wouldn't offer Russia anything. I wouldn't worry about Russia right now. I would worry about Ukraine surviving, and also Russia can always go back to their borders.
The Estonian leader was speaking during a summit of leaders from both the EU and Western Balkan countries in Albania on Tuesday. And she says the war in Ukraine has only served to bring the two sides closer together.
It changed the way we look at things, and I think it also made us more united, also with the Western Balkan countries, because it brought up that the European values that we share are the ones that are at stake in Ukraine, and Ukraine or Russia attacked Ukraine because it's European aspirations. So it is not in the interest of the European Union to let the different countries slip away.
Kallas also told Euronews that it's in the EU's interests if the Western Balkans were to eventually join the bloc in the near future. Christopher Pitchers, Euronews, Brussels.
In the latest spat between Brussels and Budapest, Hungary has blocked the approval of a new EU package of financial aid for Ukraine worth 18 billion euros, a tranche Kyiv argues it urgently needs. Any decision that will increase the EU debt must get the approval of all 27 member states. Hungary had voiced its disapproval of the package back in June, when it was first proposed. But the move by Budapest on Tuesday has been seen as a petulant reaction to the Commission's recommendation to free 7.5 billion euros of its allocated EU budget as punishment for failing to implement reforms to address corruption and public procurement, among other issues. In a series of tweets, Prime Minister Viktor Orban dismissed remarks that Hungary is vetoing financial aid to Ukraine, saying the country is ready to give financial aid on a bilateral basis, reiterating that adding to the EU's debt is not the solution.
This was the warm welcome of the Albanian authorities at the EU Western Balkan Leaders Summit in Tirana Tuesday. A highly symbolic one, given that it's the first time it's happened outside the European Union. European leaders want to make sure that the 6 countries of the region remain committed to the bloc, as the Russian war in Ukraine threatens to awaken tensions. And that's why the EU has clearly reiterated its commitment to the Western Balkans.
The future of our children will be safer and more prosperous with the Western Balkans within the EU, and we are working very hard in order to make progress.
In return, the EU expects the Balkan countries to fully align with sanctions against Russia, something that Serbia has so far eluded. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says that Russia is trying to gain influence, China is trying to gain influence. We are the biggest investor though, the closest partner, and that's why the discussion is precisely about this point. You have to decide which side you are on. If you're on the side of democracy, it's the European Union, your friends and partners. From their side, the Western Balkan countries are asking the EU to accelerate the process of integration, knowing that the war in Ukraine has brought fresh momentum.
For the first time, the Balkans are being seen and treated like a geopolitical, strategic reason for the European Union to think in depth. Now, when we'll be members, one thing is sure. We, Albanians and Albania, will be loyal to the European Union even if the European Union disappears. We'll continue to fight to be members.
Jokes from the Albanian Prime Minister aside, membership could take a long time. So a series of agreements have been signed to gain the hearts of the 6 Balkan countries, including one to reduce mobile roaming charges. No less than €1 billion in grants has also been promised to help households and businesses in the region to deal with the energy crisis. Chris with pictures for Euronews.
Internationally renowned for its stunning architecture, the Spanish city of Valencia has been selected this year among the 100 European cities taking up the challenge to be climate neutral by 2030. Once home to a local fishing community, the famous Cabanyal area has been a lab for energy efficiency, implemented within Matchup, an EU-funded project aiming at developing and upscaling smart city solutions, designed to support a sustainable urban transformation.
These solar panels have been installed in the framework of the Matchup project. It is one of the pilot projects that we are developing here. In particular, the City Council launched a call for tenders to install this type of solar panels, the so-called solar pergolas, in 5 different points of Valencia.
This public urban innovation centre will soon be home to the city's first socialised solar plant, a €100,000 project, 80% of which is financed by citizens who have each invested between €100 to €2,000. Some 20,000 lampposts on the beachfront are being equipped with devices aimed at monitoring their consumption and proper functioning remotely. Streetlights are also used to recharge electric cars. The initiative has been so successful that the municipality is now working to increase the initial 12 charging stations to more than 150.
To make an estimate of the savings, just consider that installing a recharging point of this type costs around €2,500, compared to €50,000 required for the traditional charging points.
Together with Dresden in Germany and Antalya in Turkey, Valencia is one of the so-called lighthouse cities, selected to showcase large-scale demonstrations within the Matchup project.
Bordeaux winemakers are calling for emergency government aid as many are facing ruin. Overproduction, dwindling red wine consumption, the impact of climate change and a halt in exports to China has prompted the call for government action. Hundreds came out to demand compensation for uprooting their vines. They say they are being offered a price per barrel at €700, while the production cost, in the best case, is €1,200 to €1,300.
Needs to report a murder. Whose murder?
A chilling retelling of one of the most notorious espionage murders of modern times.
He's been poisoned.
David Tennant plays Alexander Litvinenko, the former KGB agent who was poisoned with radioactive polonium in London after turning against Vladimir Putin. He fell ill after meeting 2 Russian men in a hotel.
World to know what has happened.
I explained to you my
Before he died, Litvinenko accused the Kremlin of ordering his killing.
Everyone was so motivated to get it right. It was one of those jobs where everyone just felt the weight of responsibility, because it's recent history. This is not, we're not telling a tale from decades ago, and it's history that's still the ripples of this moment are still being felt in the pond we're all still swimming in. So I think everyone wanted to approach this with a respect for the material that perhaps goes above and beyond what one might more readily expect.
British authorities found Russia was responsible for Litvinenko's death, a verdict backed by the European Court of Human Rights.
This is a chemical attack in the United Kingdom.
At the time, the murder sent shockwaves across the West. It appeared to demonstrate an unprecedented willingness within the Kremlin to go beyond Russia's borders to eliminate figures seen as enemies of the state.
I'll give you my word.